This is Thoughts with C, J, and L.
A podcast by three Asian American people with thoughts on being Asian American and people.
In this episode, we're talking about lifting.
Okay, so this week, this podcast, we're talking about lifting, like going to the gym and picking up some metal and putting it back down so that we can get big and swole. Yeah, let's talk about it, especially because I feel like this should be good because we're the demographic that not a lot of people think about when it comes to lifting. I don't know. So yeah, it's like I guess it's weird that we all do it. And that's odd that it's like a common thing that the three of us do, considering that not a lot of people I know do it often or frequently. And I feel like we've talked about it too in our physical activity episode, which everyone should go listen to. Shout out to season 1. Was it season 1? Season 2. Shout out to season 2. If you're a fake fan, if you believe that I meant season 1, I really meant season 2. But considering that we all have different backgrounds and we aren't the person that you see at the gym, I guess we should start off with why do you lift, or when did you start? What does lifting mean to you? What do you want to share about this topic?
Kat, do you want to go first?
Okay, I'll go first. I got into lifting because of Jam, actually. So maybe she should go first. But okay, so I did a little bit of lifting like in high school and in college when I played ultimate, just as kind of like conditioning sort of thing, you know, how you like kind of have to go and like move some stuff around and then you leave and you don't really know what you did, but you just kind of went and did it because someone told you to. So that was kind of my earliest experiences with moving heavy objects in the gym. But I don't know when we started, but at some point, Jam and I started going to the gym together in undergrad, and we would go like once a week. And
Yeah,
I would
we were pretty consistent.
Yeah, we were super consistent, and I was always late. Even though I lived so close to the gym, like literally like 2 minutes away, but I was always late. And then, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's like my earliest consistent memory of going to the gym and lifting. And yeah, I feel like Jam taught me the basics. And now that I'm out of undergrad, I go regularly to work out just because I like how it feels. And I don't know, it's a routine and like me time. Alone time is good time. So yeah, that's how I started because Jam taught me.
Aw. Okay, maybe that's why we just figured it out. Anyways, go ahead.
I guess for me, I also started lifting in college or in undergrad. I think it was the summer after my freshman year. And it was always something that I wanted to try, but I never really got the chance to because I didn't really do sports in high school. I know like for some sports they have you like using the school gyms and stuff, but I didn't really do that. So the summer after my freshman year, I think my parents had a membership to a gym like near my house. And they were going pretty consistently to like those group classes and all of that. And then at that time, I think my oldest brother was also like getting into lifting. So like he already knew basically what to do in the gym. And he was like going pretty consistently. And then so like I think my parents had like a couple guest passes. And then so my brother and I went, and then I asked him to like help me through going through the basics of lifting. So that's how I started. And I don't know, I guess I've always wanted to try it because I think in terms of body image, I feel like I don't really fit into like a very like stereotypical like thin Asian girl kind of physique. So like I feel like growing up that's always something I've been kind of insecure about. But I feel like with lifting, it's almost like taking what I didn't like about myself and like changing my perspective on the way I view my body and like focusing more on strength rather than like the physique of it all. I think that was really empowering for me. And so I guess that's like a pretty big reason why I stuck with it. And I like how it makes me feel. And I like that I'm able to kind of compete with myself and like improve in that way. So that's why I still lift to this day, even though I don't really, it's not really for sports or like any goal in particular, but I just enjoy it.
That was, well, you should have gone last. I feel like
You
it's a
switch it
good
around.
transition. Yeah, we'll just edit it, right?
Yeah.
I'm only making this joke because I do not edit. It's ironic. I guess for me, I started, okay, see, my definition of lifting, I think has changed. Or like, I think it's good to say what we consider lifting, because I think going to the gym and doing certain things is not particularly lifting. Or like, some of it maybe just like maintenance, which to say like you can lift and still do maintenance exercises, but like that's not, you know, the long term. But I think for me it started in high school, just because I was on the soccer team and we did lifting. Like we went to the weight room every once in a while. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if they ever explained it to us as to why we did it or what we were focusing on. Maybe they did and I wasn't listening, which would be on brand. But like for whatever reason, I just like didn't know why we were doing any of it, and I was just like, yeah, it's something we do. And then I was like slowly realizing, I was like, oh man, like the quads are my strengths. But then going to college, I didn't really do it because I didn't have that structure and like no one was telling me what to do. And then I went with Jane, shout out to Jane. But I think at one point we all four of us saw each other at the gym or something, maybe. Did we ever do that? Because I know you two lifted together
I
and
feel
then
like,
maybe,
yeah, I think I remember that.
yeah, I don't know. Anyways, or maybe I just made that up in my head and I was like, oh, one day all four of us can lift together.
No, I feel like I have a faint memory of
Yeah.
Suzuki.
We'll just build that into your memory, even if
Yeah.
it's happened or not. I went with Jane and she kind of like explained more like, or like showed me different exercises to do, which has been cool. And then that like kind of made me go consistently. And then post college, I was like, oh, I should probably still do this. So I have like a friend who's like was an athletic trainer, and she kind of like introduced me to a bunch of exercises. And then I briefly like majored in kinesiology in college. So I kind of like understood the muscle, strengthening process. But then in my master's, I like for some reason half my classes are mishmashed with like people who are masters of strength and conditioning. So I know a lot about it now, like more than I had ever intended, like at a molecular level, which is cool. And so now I get it and I know why I should do it. And then I'm like, okay, well, and then this is why it's like related, but it's because like muscle strengthening exercises are really important in public health. And that's like what my major is, of like why certain physical activity is important to general health. But now I see it as a thing that everyone should be doing, mostly because after the age of like 30, that's it. Like the like it's all downhill from there, essentially by like the amount of like weight that you put and like the strength that you build in your bones. That's it. After 30, like you're just losing after that. So I think it's important now to like maintain or at least like build up that strength before you turn old. Not that above 30 is old for all of our above 30 listeners. but I don't know. It's just I see the importance in all aspects. And it's also like, I mean, I'm just going to throw the public health part in there, but like access to be able to lift is also somewhat of a privilege, even though it's just weight. Like you can make it out of anything. It's still having the space and opportunity to lift. I recognize is not available to everybody, but I don't know. Was there any particular question or like topic that we wanted to talk about? I know Jam said one at the end of hers. Oh, empowerment. How you were able to do the thing and have something that was against you actually be utilized to something.
I feel like I relate a lot to like what you talked about with lifting being really empowering, because I feel like, okay, I mean, this is like a throwback to our first episode on body image, our pilot episode. But I feel like I have always felt similarly about like my body in the sense that I'm not a very small person. I'm not tall either, though. This is a tangent that keeps coming up with my mom because my mom is like, like, what if you were 5'7" or like 5'8" or whatever? And I was like, and I'm just always like, Mom, like, could you imagine if I were 5'8"? Like, the world, it would be over for everybody else. It's just, I would have been too stacked. But anyway.
Too stacked. Oh, look at her.
Yeah, it just would have been too easy if I were 5'8". Anyway, I'm not like a small person, and so I feel like just like naturally. And so I think lifting has been empowering because I've also kind of been able to feel like, okay, well, I can be really proud of my body, not because I'm like small or I fit into this like conventional stereotype, but because I feel strong and I feel like I'm like I can do stuff. Like if you want me to pick up a box and move it up some stairs, like I'll do that. And I don't know. I think it's just felt good and it's helped me feel a lot more comfortable in my own body because it's like an internal change on how you kind of perceive yourself and how I feel like I can move around in the world. So I definitely agree a lot with that sentiment. And yeah, I also feel like it's just satisfying to be in the gym and like moving something really heavy, even if it's not actually that heavy. Because I see a lot of the guys at the gym who are like barely breaking a sweat, lifting like a lot of weight. And I'm like, damn, one day.
Okay, no, they literally have like 10 times the amount of testosterone. There's just no way we could ever like we could try really hard. We really could.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like it has been really empowering. And I really like going, and I feel like it's like the one routine thing that I do in my otherwise very chaotic life. And I feel like that's important.
Provide stability.
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
Yeah, I feel like in terms of talking about like the beauty standards and all of that, I feel like at least for me, it feels like I've spent a lot of time trying to fit myself into the expectations and standards that are put on us, like specifically for Asian women. I don't know. I feel like it's like at some point you just get really tired of it, and it's also like very frustrating. And I feel like lifting is almost going like the opposite direction and being like, okay, like I don't care about these standards anymore. I'm just gonna do whatever I want. And especially because lifting and like training your muscles, it's like commonly viewed as something that guys do, is not necessarily something that girls do. And then so I feel like as women going to the gym and lifting and training our bodies in this way, I feel like it's going against the standards, which it's like scary at first, but then it's also like once you get into it, it feels really good to not be boxed in.
I agree. Well, the other thing too is I think that like once you become a regular goer, you kind of just feel like it starts to feel normalized. At least I don't feel like weird anymore at the gym. But I remember I used to. Like I would always be like, oh my gosh, everybody's looking at me, or like, oh my gosh, I can't do anything. I'm struggling so hard and I'm sweating and there's so many people around me. And so I feel like that part in general is really challenging, especially as like a woman in the gym. I feel like people who go to the gym regularly are really scary.
But like I feel like they're not. I don't know. Like, no. Don't get me wrong. They're all scary. Well,
Like
no.
even the women, like okay, I think I'm still self-conscious at the gym, but I just think that if I saw like when I see people who are like really like going at it, I'm always like, oh, I better stay out of their way.
Yeah, there's like an unspoken etiquette that is like not exactly clear of what you should be doing. I don't know.
I don't know
There's
where
a
I was going with
vibe.
this. I
I don't know. I feel like it has a lot to do with confidence, though, right? And familiarity. Because it's like if you're going for the first time and you don't know what you're doing, unless you have someone with you who knows what they're doing, it's like you're kind of lost, right? And then it's like it seems like everyone else knows what they're doing. And especially if they're like going really hardcore at it, they're like taking up a lot of space and you feel like you're being in their way. So it's like that in itself is like really uncomfortable. But it's like if you're confident in like what you're doing at the gym and like with certain exercises I feel like that fear of like being in someone's way or like taking up space kind of goes away because it's kind of like they can do their own thing, but like I'm gonna take up space here too.
I have a question for you guys. Okay. So I feel like we all kind of said that we had to learn how to lift, right? Do you feel like everybody who goes to the gym regularly and lifts has to learn how to do it? Like, is there a learning curve?
I think there is.
Yeah. I feel like even if they think that they're doing it right, they might not be. Like form is everything and the way that they do it.
And also, one thing that I've noticed a lot is just like the way people warm up. People don't warm up. Like
I'm
they just jump
guilty.
in, they do the bar, like if they're squatting, they do the bar and then they just go straight to their working weight. And I'm just like, what like that cannot be good for you.
No.
But it's like, I mean, I get that because like I definitely did that when I first started. I was like, oh, I don't want to look like I'm just like squatting like I don't know whatever weight, and then I just go straight to my working weight. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go straight into it and like finish it real quick. But I feel like with time, I realized that that was not serving me. So it's just like I don't know. Each time I go to the gym, I feel like I learn a little bit, and it's like you can kind of adjust to whatever works for you.
Also, just wanted to add a plug for people who want to start going to the gym. I saw people make TikToks on it now. They're like, hey, if you want to get to the gym, here's some like beginner exercises you can do. So you feel more confident going into it and you can do whatever you want. Because I feel like with the going into it with confidence thing, I feel like that's like there's like two prongs to that. Like the first one is knowing what you're doing, but also feeling like you can take up space, which might be like an outside thing. But there are definitely guys at the gym who don't know what they're doing and they just stick around and it's like, what do you do?
I feel like most people at the gym are like, even though they like appear intense, everybody is like cordial. It's like people are
Yeah, for
focused
the most
on, yeah, people are focused on themselves, but they're not like rude. It's just like everybody's doing their own thing. But yeah.
the concept of a gym is just like kind of weird to me.
Oh my gosh. When I'm in, like, if I go in the morning and it's, super early before work and it's like dark outside and it's just, I mean, everybody has their like headphones in and there's, so you don't hear how awkward it actually sounds. Like, sometimes if I don't have music playing and I can kind of hear the background noise, I'm like, this is literally dystopian. Like, it's a bunch of random strangers in a large warehouse like room with fans going on, and we're just all, I don't know, it's so weird. But I feel like, if you got your music, you don't really perceive it. But yeah, the concept of a gym is wild.
And then part of it is like for like
Mm.
why do I need to squat 100 pounds? Not that I'm ever doing that in my daily life, but just I don't know.
Wait, you just said why?
No, but like like okay, just like a basic level for me to live actually. Do I need like I could be physically active and maintain, like fitness, not lifting that much, but for some reason I'm like, yeah, let's go higher. I mean like it's very like transferable to other things like frisbee or like I don't know, just being active in general, but it's like honestly, do I need to be training in this way? Like my day job only requires me to carry my body around. I don't know. I just
I guess it depends on what your goals are.
yeah.
But I mean, like, even that in itself, it's like at the most basic level, it's like, yeah, we don't need to be like lifting 300 pounds or whatever. But I don't know. I guess maybe this is like a reflection on just like our overall quality of life as a society that we're able to like have a job, but also like do like lifting as a hobby and have goals outside of just survival, I guess. You
Yeah.
know?
But then like I don't know what it's like in other places that also can have the ability to have lifting as a hobby. Like do they like I feel like in American culture it's very prominent. Like that's like it's definitely a thing. Like there's a type of American person that you can think of, like the Arnold Schwarzeneggers of the world, you know?
Mhm.
But then it's like in other countries, do they do this? Like when you go to Taiwan, is there gyms where people do this? Well, no, they definitely is, right? But like, is it as prevalent?
There are gyms. I mean, okay, I feel like I can't speak for because I do visit often, but like not often enough to for me to say. But I like there are gyms and there definitely are. I will say that like according to my parents, just like people who go to the gym are like increasing throughout the years. And it's like for my parents' generation, it's like no one really went to the gym or even like exercise as a hobby. That's just like not really something they did. But like throughout the years, my parents have said that there are definitely a lot more people being more aware of their health and also like prioritizing like going to the gym and staying active. So
Well, I guess too, it goes with like
uh,
relying more on technology to do movements and things where we basically are just, we don't do any physical labor. And
yeah,
people are like, oh, I should do that. I don't know. Sorry, that was a tangent.
no, it's a good tangent.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's just like the overall awareness of like how important physical activity is just increasing with each generation. So it's like it's gonna be more and more prevalent, I feel like, throughout the
Mhm.
world.
So we talked about empowerment, but like on the other side of that, like body dysmorphia and how like keep like continually going to the gym could perpetuate that. Like you go for your health, right? But then like a part of it, like one of the outcomes, whether you intend for it or not, is going to be your physique. And sometimes like wanting to grow in strength and like, looking a certain way. I
Mhm.
mean, it's different for everybody. Like some people have the intention of going for strength while other people want to look better, or one turns into the other and things like that. But do you guys have experiences with that?
I'm thinking, but you can go. Sorry, I didn't want it to be like.
No. I'm also thinking, but I feel like for me, it's always a balance between the two. 'Cause I'm not gonna say that like the way lifting has changed my body doesn't affect the way that I view my body, because it definitely does. And the reason I know it does is because when I stop lifting, if there's like a period of time where I can't go to the gym, like I become really uncomfortable in my body again. And it's not necessarily like my body is changing in any way, but I think there's just the perception of my body changes whether or not I go to the gym, which is not really healthy. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like at this point in my life, it's like me going to the gym is like I don't have a goal of necessarily maintaining a certain physique, but it's like I don't know. I guess it kind of goes back to I think I mentioned this in the first episode where in terms of how I manage my relationship with my body and the way that I view my body is like if I'm doing like everything I can and that includes like eating well, exercising well, sleeping well, like just taking care of myself. If I'm doing all of that to the best of my ability, then I kind of made a deal with myself to not nitpick about things that I don't like about myself, or it's easier for me to kind of like overlook those things. But the moment that I feel like I'm not doing those things well, then that's like when I start to get more insecure. So I don't really know if that's like an unhealthy thing. I feel like it could turn into that if it's like gets extreme, but I feel like that's kind of the state that I'm in right now in terms of how going to the gym affects the way I view myself.
That's healthy. That's good.
Thanks for the validation.
I mean, I think though too, there's like a part of it where like not going to the gym and like stopping a routine that you've been doing is also just uncomfortable in general. Of like, I don't know, I get really antsy when I can't work out or
Mhm.
like something happened. I don't know if it's like psychological or if this is actually what I feel, but like I feel like actually uncomfortable not using my muscles. Maybe that's just like atrophy or it's just me being like, oh no, I haven't worked out in so long. Like I'm gonna lose this muscle. Maybe it's both, but I don't know. I definitely do resonate with that.
I feel like this can also kind of lead the conversation into the concept of body positivity, because I feel like a common narrative that we see, especially on social media, like in contrast to like, I don't know, Instagram models or like these unattainable beauty standards, is like kind of the move of accepting your body no matter no
I would
matter
say,
what kind of condition it's in, or like what no matter what shape or size or like whatever.
I think we talked about this at one point. I feel like that was us that we talked about it.
I think it was off camera.
Yeah, off the
I think
record.
we definitely
Okay.
had this conversation.
Yeah. Well, I think it was because I was struggling with body positivity and like, yeah, I mean, like to every person, like your body doesn't say whether or not you have more value or less value than someone. Like, yeah, that's it. But as someone who's like in public health who wants to encourage physical activity, it's hard to be like, yes, everybody has value, but also this is not the according to like data or whatever research there is, like that amount of body composition of like body fat is not healthy for you. Like you're more at risk for things like heart diseases and stuff like that. And so like I think though a lot of people say that where and they don't actually mean it. And that's where people are like, oh no, like you have to actually consider body positivity. But it's difficult. And then like a lot of it too is like in public health physical activity, it's like helping implement like environments or systems that encourage physical activity. And then with that, it's like, oh, well, you're not actually thinking about people who aren't physically capable of walking upstairs or walking more. And so it's like, it's very difficult to, sorry, that part was tangent, but just like considering when it comes to these things about like being physically active, specifically with weightlifting, like it's very hard to talk about sometimes. I feel like Kat hasn't spoken in a while.
No, because
Your mind.
I'm trying to like collect my thoughts because I feel like my brain is going in a lot of different directions because I think I haven't thought a lot about my body recently in a good way. I think it's good because I used to think about my body a lot, but now I don't know if it's because I've been going to the gym regularly. So kind of like what Jam said, I feel like I know that I'm like, eating well. And so it's like how my body is kind of, out of my control at this point. So maybe that's why I haven't thought as much about it recently. So that's why I feel like I'm like trying to think about what or how I feel. Like if it, I don't know. I am struggling to condense my thoughts. I will say though, I do feel like weird when I don't work out, kind of like you said, Loho. I don't know. I just feel I can feel it when I haven't been working out, but I don't know if it's like in a self-conscious way. It's more just like my muscles feel tight and my body feels weird. Like I really need to stretch or something. Yeah. I don't know. I'm sitting here listening to you guys and thinking like, wow, I really haven't thought reflectively about body image in a while, which is probably a good thing because I used to have like a really unhealthy relationship with body image. And I think maybe the reason I haven't thought about it recently is because I feel like I became aware after going to the gym of how unaware of how I actually looked I was. Does that make sense?
So you became more aware of how you looked after you going to the gym.
No, I just stopped thinking about it because I knew that I wasn't unaware of how I looked. Like, I don't want to say that I have or had body dysmorphia because that's like a real thing that people really, really, really struggle with, and it's like, isn't it like a clinical like diagnosis, like it's like clinical. But I think I just like have never really known what exactly I look like because I don't know, just like, when you're not a small Asian girl growing up, all your like people are like, well, they say bad things. And so I think that like really, I feel like it's just kind of gotten to me, for the longest time. And then now that I've been going to the gym, I'm like, I'm super healthy. Like I'm a healthy person. So why do I feel like all this weirdness and why can I not perceive myself accurately? And so because of all of that, I kind of, have just given up about thinking about my body. It's, oh my gosh, this is like the internal monologue. It's like, just like I'll table it for later. Because I can't, I don't know what I look like. Yeah, I don't know. That was I said nothing for like 10 minutes and then also just talked for another 10 minutes, but also didn't say anything.
It's because you have no internal monologue and you like couldn't.
Dude, I'm so jealous of your ability to table things.
You just put it away like that. No, I feel that though. Like especially as somebody who's like you're right. You've either fit a certain look as an Asian girl, like a young Asian girl, or you're like fat, basically. But like that's not true. It's just like I look back at pictures of myself and I'm like, I look so normal here. Why did anyone tell me otherwise? Like little does she know she's gonna get bigger than that. Like in good ways or bad ways, but it's like, nah, girl, you were fine.
Wait, is that tweet where it's like, I can't believe I thought I was fat in high school when that was like the skinniest I've ever been, or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just silly.
And yeah, I feel like because I wasn't like a super athletic kid, like I like did my running thing for a little bit in high school and like, played a little bit of frisbee in undergrad. But I feel like because I wasn't like the super athletic person, there was like a lot of just like messed up stuff in my head about like, oh, maybe if I like worked out or exercised more, then like maybe there really is something wrong with me. Like I should look a certain way. And now that I'm on the cusp of adulthood and I go to the gym regularly and I eat pretty healthy, I'm like, what else do you want me to do? Like, it's not on me at this point. I'm just built like this. Uh,
I mean, I'm sure
uh,
too, like being younger, that's all we kind of really care about. And now it's like, oh my gosh, the world is ending. Why do I care what I look like? Sorry, continue.
no, there really wasn't much else. So I think, yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I can't. I feel like that's why people should lift because it is like empowering that way. Because you're like, I'm working out. Like, what
Yeah.
else do you want me to do?
I mean, but it does get you like in tune with movements that you don't usually do, and
Mhm.
you grow into confidence in yourself in that way. But I think like I was also really self-conscious about it. And then I think for me, like the switch flipped when I was like, yeah, I like may look bigger than you, but also like I can outrun you, or I did all these things that like other people might not be able to do, or like I can still do things like it hasn't been a hindrance in any way. And so it's just like, okay. I
No,
don't know.
no, that's how I think. I'm like, I may be bigger than you, but I could pick you up. So
Yeah, go to the gym and get stronger so I can be more intimidating.
as a as a 5'3", even though I feel strong when I lift, I have probably not that much muscle. In compare, like I couldn't fight off anybody realistically. Don't don't come after me because I said that, but like in my brain, because I go, I'm like, I could definitely beat up somebody. Like when I'm in the right mood, I will square up against anybody. I'll be like, yeah.
We're not condoning violence. We're just saying it's possible.
I'm not saying I won't kill you with these muscles that are going at the gym, but I could.
Is
I
that
don't
even
know.
how you use the word condone?
Yeah, right. Like we don't support.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Just making sure. Don't want to sound dumb on this podcast.
Yeah, we should have stopped a long time ago. In the end of the day, we're all just slabs of meat trying to survive. We're little hot packets with no. Wait, we're just slabs of meat controlled by electrical things sent by other slabs of meat, and there's vibrations and
It's all controlled by a computer called the simulation.
yeah, and the simulation like isn't even real.
Okay, I'll pose a question. Do you get exercise burnout?
Oh, all the time.
I do, yeah.
Even
Oh,
though I just said I get angsty when I don't exercise, there's a
Wait,
time period where I'm like, mm-mm.
how would you define how you feel when you get exercise burnout?
I feel it most mentally and physically. So like mentally, I'm just like, this is the worst thing that could possibly like why would I put this in my schedule? Like I'm not having a good time and don't feel like I'll feel good. No matter what though, I will always feel good. That's a trick to myself. Like there was one point in time where I was like, just go run. I don't care what you think, but just like go run. But yeah, it's like I'm dreading it. Like I don't enjoy the process as much as I usually do. And then physically, I'm like, I just feel very broken, if that makes sense. Like I'm very scared to do anything, as opposed to when most times I'm like, yeah, like I can do this. Other times I'm like, I shouldn't be doing this. Like I feel like I'm gonna snap in half pretty soon. I don't know if that's relatable.
I actually feel like I don't experience exercise burnout that much. So I feel like I need to think about this.
I also feel like I don't, but okay, there are definitely days where I like show up at the gym or like about to start my run where I'm like, wow, I'm really tired. I like don't really want to do this now. But Loho, like you said, I always feel good afterwards. Like I've never completed a workout and been like, I should have just taken a nap. Even though there's a lot of times where before I start, I'm like, I should just go take a nap instead.
I agree with Kat. I feel like I do have moments where I don't want to go work out, but like after I do, I feel a lot better. But I don't know. I feel like the only thing I can really think of is if I'm not in like the greatest mood, then trying to push myself to like go outside and go for a run or go to the gym like feels too much. But it's not necessarily because my body is tired, but it's just because I'm just unmotivated. If that makes sense. I feel like in those moments, a lot of times I'm like, oh, I should just take a nap then. But then, like, after I take a nap, I always feel really disgusting.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it depends what you mean though, because like for frisbee, anyways, the cycle in college. So basically, like the experience that I've had so far is you have regular season that starts from September to end of the school year, which is like what, April, May. And then after that, you immediately have club, and that ends. It actually doesn't even end, it overlaps with the beginning of the college season. So you're basically playing year round. And
Yeah.
I think like mentally and physically, I felt that. But in general, like me having to do exercise all the time, I think I still get exercise burnout just because it is something you have to do every day. Like I have to change things up or else I lose it.
Mm. So you say you experience it physically and mentally. Physically, are you talking about like your body is just too exhausted?
Yeah, like I think it's because I don't cool down and warm up, but also just like because like I like to get a lot out of a workout, and I feel like I haven't figured out my routine yet where I can make a plan to do something where I feel good after, but also not exert myself all the way. Like I think it would require more time for me to do that.
Mm,
Because if it's like a low intensity, then I would probably have to go for a longer amount of time for me to feel like I did the most that I could. I
yeah.
think that's just what happens when you have high stamina. That's definitely my strength. I don't know if you guys have like physical strengths that you have recognized within yourselves, but stamina is definitely mine.
Oh yeah, mine is definitely not stamina.
Kat, what's your superpower?
Good question. Not sleeping.
Oh no. Hey, that's pretty good. I will say that's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know. I should sleep more. Everybody should sleep more, especially me.
I feel like sleeping will help with lifting too.
Yeah. I got these blackout curtains and they've changed my life.
You always sigh like that, and it's so funny. It's always, I don't think, Kat, take care of yourself out there. TLDRs.
Yeah.
TLDR, as long as you're moving and you're active, it's good. And lifting can be one of those great things that helps with a bunch of other things. Don't be scared to do it because no one knows what they're doing. And we're just a bunch of meat sacks.
TLDR, if you're thinking about going to the gym for the first time, you should go with a friend. And then don't be scared to take up space because as Loho said, no one knows what they're doing. So just do your thing, be active, and be healthy.
TLDR, if you know how to lift, teach someone else how to lift.
Goodbye to my gym partner, Jane.
Bye, Jane.
Bye, Jane.